What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Defiant with Brandon Tucker. Please give me a 1 in the comments to let me know if the sound is okay and if the visuals are coming through nice and bright and clear. Tonight, we have to start with some breaking news concerning former President Joe Biden. Joe Biden's office has confirmed that he has been diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer with metastasized, which has metastasized to the bone. The the diagnosis follows a medical evaluation after Biden reported increase in urinary symptoms. Doctors discovered a prostate nodule, and subsequent tests revealed an aggressive form of prostate cancer with a Gleason score of 9. The cancer has spread to his bones, indicating that he is in stage 4 of the disease. His medical team has said that the cancer is hormone sensitive, which does allow for treatment. Medical experts have emphasized that while stage 4 prostate cancer is serious, treatments are available and there are many ways to manage the disease. Treatment options typically include hormone therapy and bone-targeted treatments. The former president and his medical team are now reviewing those options. Now, I'm going to say what many of you are probably thinking, and I hope the sound is coming through loud and clear because no one gave me a 1 to let me know if they could hear me okay. The timing of this diagnosis has led many people to speculate and question whether or not Joe Biden, his political team, and his medical team are just now discovering that the former president is dealing with stage 4 prostate cancer. Many people believe that Joe Biden already knew he had prostate cancer. It makes total sense because as president of the United States of America, Biden was given several wellness exams. He went through extensive blood work, different scans, disease identifying tests, and very comprehensive medical evaluations throughout his presidency. So the idea that the best doctors in the world, the best doctors on earth, were unable to identify prostate cancer at stage 1, 2, 3, and 4 is absolutely mind-boggling. Medical professionals have stated that prostate cancer can be asymptomatic and that even with regular checkups, advanced stages of cancer should be found. That's what they're saying. So they're saying it can be asymptomatic to where there aren't many symptoms, but they're saying that even with just regular checkups, blood work, scans, etc., someone had to have known that Joe Biden was dealing with prostate cancer. Now, me being someone who leans a little bit to the other side of the aisle, I feel like I know exactly what's going on here. I feel like I know just as many of you know that this was a cover-up, just like many other health issues Biden was dealing with during his presidency. And I don't want to say I told you so. I'm trying to be professional. I don't want to say I told you so. But how long are the American people going to play this game with the Democrat Party or any political party that is entrusted with the duty and responsibility to run or administrate our government? Why are people accepting this situation where you never find out the truth until the truth no longer matters? Why was the president dealing with stage 4 prostate cancer? Clearly, there are people who knew about this, yet he was still being carted out in front of the American people as a potential presidential candidate ready to run for his second term, run for re-election, as if Joe Biden most likely would not have croaked while in the middle of his second term. I'm going to speculate. I try to be journalistic, but my suspicion is that Joseph Biden was carted out for re-election because the Democrats had concocted a plan where Biden, God forbid, would pass away in office and Kamala Harris would make history by being ushered in as the first female president of the United States. I don't believe the Democrat Party believes that a female could be dutifully or rightfully elected as outright elected as president of the United States at this current time. I don't believe that. Whoa. Yeah, it should be over. I don't know who you were. Sorry about that. I'll lock it. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry, everyone. There was like someone in our the patio. I didn't know who that was, but it was like the building management. I don't. Did you see that? Did you see? Hey, I thought I was about to have to beat somebody up. Let me stop. Let me get back to being professional, bro. I thought it was a homeless person coming into the patio. Somebody was about to get their ass whooped, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. But anyway, so yeah, so I suspect exactly what everyone else suspects. The Democrat Party has reached the lowest point of any political party in history. And there have been many political parties that have been disbanded and are no longer around. But when you're at the point where you have totally stripped, when you're at the point where you have totally stripped your Democrat voters of their ability to choose who to make the choice of who they want to be the leader of this country, the most powerful position in the free world, you are no longer trustworthy or credible, right? You have to understand that even Senator Bernie Sanders has admitted that the Democrat Party is a legitimate threat to democracy. And I'm going to get into that video here in a second. But first, I want to examine what the mainstream media is reporting on the situation with Joe Biden's cancer diagnosis. Literally, I don't even listen. I want to be unbiased, but I'm biased. I don't see how anyone is still voting for the Democrat Party. These people have created a situation where they are totally okay with lying to their constituents and to the American people, and basically only giving you access to the truth after it's no longer important. They said Biden was as healthy as he's ever been, right? They said that if anyone questions whether or not Joe Biden is mentally fit to be president, that person is somehow a treasonous criminal. They're conspiracy theorists. They are un-American. And then now people like Jake Tapper, one of the main advocates of Biden being capable of being president for a second term, has now made millions of dollars writing a book about how he knew Biden was cognitively impaired the whole time, or basically acting like he had no idea that Biden was cognitively impaired. Guys, the mainstream media is trying to convince the American people that they were unable to see something that even you and I from our couches could see through the television. These people are telling you that they were sitting directly in front of Joe Biden and could not see what we saw from our couches all across the country. I just want to make that point. I just want to make this, I want to drive this point home, because I was literally banished from Black political spaces. I was literally turned on by Black people because they were telling me that I was a sellout, I'm a coon, I'm this, I'm that, because I was telling them that Joe Biden wasn't fit to be president even before he was elected. Now you're finding out that he really wasn't fit to be president. This is why they were hiding him during his first campaign. He was in the basement while Trump is running all around the country doing rally after rally after rally. And they were blaming it on COVID. So Donald Trump can go into an arena full of people, but Joe Biden can't even go to a 200-person event because of COVID. No, they were hiding Joe Biden. Right. I'm struggling with the word cognitively today. I don't know why, but whatever. They were literally hiding Joe Biden, and the American people, the Democrats, who had already been stripped of their ability to choose leadership, they went along with the Biden hoax, as I am now coining it. The Biden hoax is where Joe Biden was presented to the American people as a capable candidate for president. Yet the people who presented him to you knew that he was unable to run the country. So what they did was They ran a 42 fake, a fumblerooski, so to speak, where they directed the attention of the American people onto Donald Trump and George Floyd and all these other social justice issues, while they encouraged the American people to vote for Joe Biden, though he was never given and was never able to pass a true eyeball test administered by the American people. That's the Biden hoax, as far as I'm concerned. Let's see what the mainstream media has to say about this, and I will give some more commentary.
To monitor breaking news out of the White House about former President Joe Biden. His office just revealed that the 46th president is diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. Let's check back in with Madeline Rivera. She is live at the White House for us. Madeline.
Hey, John. So, yes, we just got this information within the last half hour or so. So I do just want to read the statement from the personal office of former President Joe Biden. It says, last week, President Joe Biden was seen for a new finding of a prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. On Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, characterized by a Gleason score of 9, grade group 5, with metastasis to the bone. While this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be more hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. The president and his family are reviewing treatment options with his physicians. So there have been a lot of headlines and concerns regarding the president's cognitive health. It was one of the reasons why he was pushed out of the presidential candidacy last year. But there have been very few headlines and concerns regarding the president's own physical health. In fact, I went back to see what the president's results were from his annual physical last year. And it said President Biden is a healthy, active, robust 81-year-old male who remains fit to successfully execute the duties of the presidency, to include those as chief executive, head of state, and commander in chief. So it is kind of shocking at this point. But the president, I've been thinking back to some of the activities that we've seen him do.
There's nothing shocking about this. Guys, we have federal judges who are working every day to allow illegal criminal alien rapists to stay in this country. They are not calling the game, so to speak. They're not calling balls and strikes, so to speak. There are clearly activists who have been activated to defend the agenda of one side of the political aisle. So the idea that that they couldn't have just found a doctor who could have just continuously given Joe Biden a bill of health, or who could have said, you know what? And this is what many doctors do. They'll look at you, they'll know they should run certain tests, but they'll just say, if I run the test and find something wrong, I am obligated to tell the person that I'm testing. But if I simply say, you look fit to me, you look good, you look as fit as a fiddle, there's no reason, I can see no reason to administer tests. Guess what? I don't have to reveal what I don't know. Because Joe Biden said that he talked to his doctor all the time, and that his doctor said that he seemed cognitively fine to him. But now we're all finding out that Biden was not cognitively capable of running the country. Well, yeah, if the doctor says, well, I'm just going to have a 5-minute conversation with Joe Biden about his childhood. And if he can navigate through his childhood and recall memories from his childhood, he should be fine cognitively. Well, that doesn't identify a problem, because my grandmother died from Alzheimer's. But I'll tell you that even when she was deeply impacted by Alzheimer's, even towards the end of her battle with Alzheimer's and dementia, she could still tell you what she ate for breakfast every day in the 3rd grade in Terrell, Texas, walking in the snow to get to school. So really what these people did was they gamed it. They gamed the rules, which is what they always do, so that they would not have to admit that they nominated someone who was unfit physically to run the country, so that they could install people into appointed positions who could run the country in the way that they saw fit. We have entered a new phase, or a new phase in American politics, where the president is no longer an autonomous figurehead who actually has control. He is more, well, the Democrats are working to make the presidency just a symbolic position, so that the government can actually be run by appointment, rather than by the democratic process. They want to choose leadership instead of allowing the American people to have a say. This is disgusting. Let's keep going.
This is a former president who was very active. We could see him go biking in Rehoboth Beach whenever he would go down there with his family. He was very physically fit and very active, at least for his age. So this is shocking news. Of course, we are waiting to hear more information. Now, of course, Biden, being the former president, will be afforded some of the best care in the country, but he is 82 years old. So there are understandably concerns about how his treatment may go as well. But I do want to refer to one part of that statement. Again, they say at this time that this cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. So there is that hope that the president will be able to withstand whatever treatment he does go through. But again, at this point, this statement says that this is an aggressive form of bone cancer. Prostate cancer, rather, excuse me. So we are waiting to hear more information that we could see come out of this news today. John.
All right. Thanks very much.
You got it.
Hey, Sean Hannity.
Okay, so they're hopeful. They're trying to spin this in a positive light. Biden has a chance to beat this cancer. Biden ain't beating this cancer. Biden has been suffering from the effects of prostate cancer ever since he was president, and before that. This explains why they were saying Joe Biden couldn't even make it through debate prep. This explains why they were saying Joe Biden was needing to take several naps throughout the day, and he could only work until about 4 o'clock every afternoon. Joe Biden was working an 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. shift as president, while taking more vacations than any other president in history, and going to bed every night around 6 p.m. Understand that. So what you guys were presented with, what we as the American people were given, was a shell of a man who was unable to even make sure that the advice that was given to him was accurate. Just let that sink in for a second. Or the council. Joe Biden. This is so disgusting. I want to tell you guys a quick story. You might have missed this, but the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, he, after years of requesting to sit down one-on-one with Joe Biden, right? He asked Joe Biden, he said, why would you sign a bill or an executive order that banned the export of LNG? LNG is liquid natural gas. This is a resource that the United States has in abundance, and this country makes billions of dollars and creates thousands and thousands of jobs by selling and exporting liquid natural gas to other countries. And as I say that, let me make sure that I'm liquefied natural gas. Okay. We make billions of dollars off of this. Joe Biden signed an executive order banning the export of liquid natural gas, right? So let me tell you this. This man signed an executive order banning the export of liquid natural gas, which killed hundreds of thousands of jobs. It cost the United States billions of dollars in revenue. Mike Johnson sat down with Joe Biden. He said, Mr. President, why would you ban the export of liquefied natural gas? Joe Biden said, I didn't ban the export of liquefied natural gas. He said, Mr. President, we have the paperwork right here. He said, no. He said, I signed an executive order to study the impact of a ban on liquefied natural gas. I signed an executive order to study the impact of a ban on liquefied natural gas. Mike Johnson said at that moment, he knew that Joe Biden was not fit to run the country. These people literally were putting things in front of an old man who was cognitively impaired, lying to him about what was contained in the executive orders because he wasn't writing them. And he was just signing it. And I always tell the story of my grandpa when he got up in age. And my ravenous aunts and uncles would come to our house and they would say, Daddy, I need you to sign this and sign that. Oh, and can I get a check for this and that? They would write these checks out themselves. Never tell him that he was signing a check. They would put it in front of him. He's so, he's kind of gone. He's really old. He was in his 90s, late 90s. But he still had that desire, to be in control of things. So he wouldn't tell you, look, I can't even read what's on that piece of paper. They would just tell him, hey, I need you to sign this. He would sit there and act like he understood when he didn't. And he would just sign over thousands and thousands of dollars to these people, to the point where one of my uncles, he actually was able to get my grandfather to sign over his power of attorney to him and went and cleaned out his bank accounts, all of them, millions of dollars. Karma got his ass because he's dead now. He ended up dying of cancer like 4 years after. Diagnosed, died in a couple of months. But this is what happens when you get old. You begin to lose control of your mental faculties. But if you are someone like Biden, he reminds me of my grandfather in the fact that he wanted to be in charge. He tried to be president many times and failed. So do you think Joe Biden was going to be honest about how he was really feeling or his limitations as president? No, because he worked his whole life to be in charge. And he wasn't going to let a little thing like early onset dementia or cognitive impairment or prostate cancer, stage 4, stand in the way of that. So he was just signing. He wasn't verifying what was on those executive orders or in those bills. He was just signing because he trusted his advisors to advise him accurately. But his advisors were activists and they cared more about forcing unpopular legislation down the throat of this country enforcing unpopular executive orders or action down the throat of this country than they were concerned with making sure the American people had a say and that their duly elected representative was truly representing the will of the American people. They just didn't even give a damn, right? They just cared about getting their way. I'm telling you, the Democrat Party is guilty of treason. We're all in on it, including but not limited to people like Bernie Sanders, AOC, Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem Jeffries, and the rest of them, even the ones you guys love, Jasmine Crockett and all those folks, they were in on it. And they all should be tried for treason and removed from their elected positions. But it'll never happen. Now what I want to do is I want to listen to a doctor break down what's going on with Joe Biden and basically explain the facts. That there's no way they didn't know that Biden was suffering from stage 4 prostate cancer that has metastasized to the bone, meaning it's moved from his prostate into his pelvic muscles. His pelvic bone. That's not something that happens quickly. That takes years of battling prostate cancer. And you know what's crazy that no one's probably even going to think about? They probably refuse to allow Joe Biden to get treatment for his prostate cancer on a regular schedule because they know that hormone therapy, chemotherapy, is very debilitating. And they didn't want the American people to see Joe Biden withering away before their eyes, which would have led to suspicion of Biden being sick. So the spread of the cancer from his prostate to his bone was probably caused or allowed by his handlers. They probably were walking by then and saying, Mr. President, you're going in for your chemo now, hooking up an IV tube to him of saline, running it through his body, and said, okay, that's it. And he's jumping up thinking he's been treated for prostate cancer. I'm telling you, the emperor had no clothes for 4 years, and we saw it as the American people. But many of us were too cowardly to admit what we saw or acknowledge what we saw. And the rest of us were so worried about Donald Trump becoming president, or the the Republicans getting a leg up, or the Democrats having their image tarnished, that we allowed ourselves to be bamboozled, hoodwinked, and run amok, and allowed our country to suffer incredible losses just to cover up what many of us already knew and saw was happening. It's really disgusting.
Is board-certified emergency medicine physician, Dr. Oais Durrani. Doctor, thanks so much for the time. The statement is a little bit contradictory for most of us people who don't have a medical background. They're talking about the diagnosis with a Gleason score of 9. They're saying that it is metastasized to the bone, calling it aggressive. But then they're also saying because it's hormone responsive, it's somewhat treatable. Can you make it simple for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Gleason score is a way of grading prostate cancer. So essentially, if there's suspicion of having prostate cancer, what they will do is get a biopsy and take a look at it under a microscope. The score goes from 1 to 5, and they take 2 samples of that biopsy and add the scores together. And so 1 basically resembles tissue that is very similar to native normal prostate tissue, and 5 is different tissue, not great tissue that resembles aggressive cancer. And so you get, for example, 3 and a 4, you add those together, you get 7. And so in this case, obviously with a number of 9, that is fairly high because the highest you can get is 10. And so that tells us that it is a tissue that is changed, that is very aggressive. And obviously in this case, we know that it is metastasized, which means that the cancer has moved from its native area of the prostate to the bones or other parts of the body.
Okay, but again, we understand that it's aggressive, it's metastasized. What about that hormone component? How does that make the cancer more treatable?
Yeah, so basically, some cancers thrive on a certain type of fuel, and so in this case, a lot of prostate cancers are sensitive to hormones, so male androgens, things that are kind of in the family of testosterone, that kind of thing. And so the more you have of that hormone in the body, it's going to fuel that cancer, it's going to make it spread and go to other areas and be aggressive. Now, obviously, we have medications and treatments to bring those hormones down. So you take that fuel away, you're going to make that cancer less aggressive. It's going to spread less rapidly. And so essentially, that's why that is a bit of positive news.
I see. And so you talked about a couple of the treatment options as far as giving different hormones to sort of take away the cancer fuel. If you had a patient who was just diagnosed with this, what would be the first thing you would tell them they needed to do?
Absolutely. So this is obviously massive news and not great news for anyone involved. So I think, as the president's statement had said, they're taking time to look at options. And I think that is number one, taking the time to look at options, what the pros and cons of various treatments are, what, may be novel or new treatments are, clinical trials, that kind of thing. And, not necessarily jumping into, let's do something aggressive tomorrow, but hey, what's out there? What's the best for me? Speaking with your doctor.
Right.
And I think this is obviously a really good moment to talk about screening. If you're a man, 50 or over, make sure you have that conversation with your doctor about getting screened.
Yeah.
Certain races need to get screened earlier. Also ensuring that if you've had a first degree relative that has had prostate cancer, you probably need earlier screening. And so I think
Now, the word he's mentioning, screening, that's the biggest word in the whole interview. You mean to tell me that doctors are recommending that any man over 50 years old get screened for prostate cancer, and the president of the United States isn't getting screened regularly for prostate cancer? Do you guys understand that if Joe Biden was reelected, we would be we would basically be we would be installing Kamala Harris as the president right now. And that's exactly what they wanted to do. Understand the play. Understand the play that these people tried to run on you. They knew he had cancer. He knew he had cancer. He wanted to get reelected and then they were going to reveal he had cancer. He was going to step down as having defeated Donald Trump 2 times and usher Kamala Harris right into the presidency. And then she would have been able to, let me tell you what this is deeper. She would have been able to serve 4 years, the remainder of Joe Biden's presidency. And then, if I'm not mistaken, she would have been able to run two more times for president. They would have had 12 years of Democrat control of the White House. Somebody could fact check me on that. Africulture, can you fact check, Hakeem or Africulture? Can one of you guys fact check me on that? If the vice president becomes president, does that count as one of the terms that they are able to serve if they serve the remainder of the current president's term? This was the play they were trying to run. They were literally trying to get 12 years of power out of a Kamala Harris presidency, where our country would have not been run by the president, but by activists who have been installed by or appointed to powerful offices within the government. Because Kamala Harris, you already know she's dumb. Oh, so it's a free term, right? It's a free term. So she would have got to run for 2 more terms. They knew exactly what they were trying to do. That's why you kept hearing this. You remember when they were first talking about Joe Biden wasn't fit to run? And a lot of people were like, oh, he's probably going to announce some type of illness and step down as the nominee. Do you remember that? They were planning on Joe Biden revealing that he had cancer during the re-election process. and then moving Kamala into pole position. But Joe Biden probably felt strong, or he probably felt like he could survive for some more. He probably felt like this is exactly how he felt. He felt like he was the only one who was going to be able to beat Donald Trump. So it's very likely that Joe Biden was thinking, well, I'm going to beat Trump. I'm going to serve some months and then reveal that I have cancer. I've been diagnosed with cancer. And then Kamala could move in. Bro, the plays that these people are running are absolutely diabolical. And anybody who votes for them, for these people, there's no way I can honestly say, truly say that these people care about America. These people are so loyal. They're either so loyal to the idea of the Democratic Party being the best, or so fearful of Donald Trump and the Republicans that they are willing to sell their country up the river by voting for shells of human beings who will allow activists, unelected activists, to run this country instead of the democratically elected nominees. Let me get this super chat. Let's face it, Jill Biden is the first female president. 100%. Everything that was happening was coming through Dr. Jill Biden. We know what was going on. We know who was running the play. If you got to help if she was her husband's handler, that means when he was presented with a decision to be made, she was the one telling Joe, yeah, Joe, do this or don't do that. And like many old men, Joe was just going with the flow. Okay, cool. I'll do it. Guys, please don't forget we have a goal of $5 super chats and or Cash App contributions. And when you contribute, you will be entered to win a prize in our raffle that is coming up on my birthday, July 25th, 2025. You donate a minimum of $5 and your name will be put on a list, which I'm writing the list here as you contribute. I got my pen and my paper. I'm writing the names down of everyone who donates. And the more you donate, the more times your name will be entered into the raffle. What is that thing called? Into the raffle bucket, I guess. I don't know what it would be called. And it will increase your chances to win. Okay. So $5 or more, as many times as you want, and your name will be entered. And on July 25th, I will announce the winner in a live stream. And then I will make it a short clip announcing the winner. And if your name is pulled, you will win the prize. I've already done this before, so I know exactly how to do it. Feel free to enter as many times as you like. And I will just put a little mark next to your name every time you contribute. Hakeem is here. So I'm writing him down. He has one entry for his $5. Also, if you are interested in donating via PayPal or Cash App, the Cash App link and the PayPal link have been placed in the comments. But Joe Biden totally was running the country. And even when you situations like Sam Brinton, the guy who was nominated by Biden to be the head of like environmentalists or something, I forgot exactly what he was nominated or appointed to be. Hold on, let me see. So Sam Brinton is a nuclear engineer, and he was nominated to serve as an official. He was he was appointed to serve as the Deputy Assistant Secretary at the Department of Energy. And for the Department of Energy, the U.S. Department of Energy. And He was a cross-dressing man who was indicted and convicted of stealing people's luggage at the airport. I mean, if that doesn't scream mentally unstable to you, I don't know what else will. He was caught many, many times stealing people's luggage from airports. Do you know how many times you have to steal luggage from the airport for them to actually catch you on video and identify you? Dozens. Understand that. These people, so you know Biden never met him. Biden never sat down and interviewed him and said, okay, we're going to put this person in. This was one of those activists who were calling the shots in the Biden administration, giving a job to one of their homies. And it seemed like the Biden administration was just trying to find the most radicalized people they could. And it backfired on them with the hiring of people like Sam Brinton. There's no way Joe Biden, even though Joe Biden may be Looney Tunes and be willing to say whatever it takes to get elected, Biden is still an elderly white man. He's still more conservative than he is liberal. He still ain't hiring no cross-dresser. Or like the person he appointed to be a 4-star general, the transgender, absolutely ridiculous. You could tell all these decisions were being made by activists and not Biden himself. So this was a major hoax and a psyop. Miss Berry said he was walking around in their clothes. This was a major hoax and a psyop. And an act of treason committed against the American people by people who were entrusted to protect this country. This is what the Democrats are representing. So Biden is cooked. I think karma really came back on his ass, right? And Real Hype DC, you've been crazy. You still talking about no tax on tips. It doesn't matter. It's coming, whether you like it or not. And I love Real Hype DC because Real Hype DC represents the type of people who will ignore a serious transgression that has been committed against this country and the American people, all to try to highlight something that is minor. But this is the name of the game if you're a Democrat. Let's pretend like we don't see what's going on. Okay, I love this. So Real Hype DC, I represent facts, sir. Okay, let's ask you a fact. Do you believe that with what we are finding out about Joe Biden, do you believe Joe Biden was fit to be president? Do you believe Joe Biden was fit to be president? Do you believe Joe Biden was running the country? Guys, can you please do me a favor? Can you please get the likes up? I'm trying to compete with the big boys, okay? I'm trying to be up there with Greg Foreman, DeVory Darkins, Brandon Lehman, and all these other people who are in this black political space, this conservative space. I'm trying to compete with the big boys. I believe I have something of value to bring to this space. I need you guys to hit the like button for me. I need you to share this content and hit the like button for me. We are literally able to compete with the best. We learned that just from me being on No Jumper. We are better than the people who are being highlighted as the best. And when I say we, I'm including you because you are loyal viewers of this channel. Let's bring everybody into our cadre. Let's bring everybody into our fold so they can understand that this is the best political channel there is right now. The most unapologetic. And we're not only just communicating and breaking the news, we are also giving people real strategy to empower themselves. That makes it better than every other one, where they're just reading off talking points to you. And you're like, oh, I just love somebody reading off talking points. Okay, but what next? What's the solution? Alexa's talking. We pissed off Alexa. But let's do this. But get those likes up, please. Hit that like button and let's do the damn thing. Okay? So I want Real Hype to answer that question. He never will, because all he is a Democrat shill. Now we have to move into a question that was asked in the title. Are Black voters the biggest threat to democracy? And to have this discussion, I'm going to invite you guys up, the audience. No one's doing this. No one, not Tim Pool, not Greg Foreman, not Devery Darkins, not Brandon Lehman, not anybody is inviting their audience up to participate in political discussion. I am going to invite the audience up to participate in this discussion, because this is the meat and potatoes of this discussion. Are Black voters the biggest threat to democracy? And I ask this question because for too long, I keep hearing people say, we're defending democracy. I'm hearing African Americans say, we're defending democracy. We're making the bad decision to nominate and elect, which they're not even making the decision, but we're going along with the bad decision to nominate and elect unqualified people to very powerful positions because Donald Trump and the Republican Party are a threat to democracy. And I'm calling you the hell out. Donald Trump is not the biggest threat to democracy. I am believing that the Black voter is the biggest threat to democracy. Now, you might ask me why. You might ask me why. The Black voter is the only voter in America that votes 95% for one party. Hispanics recently have been split down the middle, about 50-50. Whites have always been split down the middle, about 50-50. Asians have been split down the middle, about 50-50. Every single group, every single racial demographic in America is split between conservative and Democrats, somewhere around 50-50. In certain years, it might be like 39-51 or something like, to 51 or something like that, right? But for the most part, they're roughly split down the middle 50-50. Only your community, only the Black community is voting 95% for one party. So what that means is if the Democrat Party strips their constituents of their ability to choose leadership, and they decide we're going to create a situation where the party is choosing who gets to run for president, not the members, not the citizens, the higher ups of the Democrat Party are deciding who is and who is not going to be able to run for president, which essentially means if the person they pick gets elected president, the higher ups in the Democrat Party have chosen the president and the people have had no say. How do I know this? Look at what happened with Bernie Sanders. The Democrat Party admitted that Bernie Sanders lost in the primary against Hillary Clinton because they manipulated, they jerry-rigged the election process during the primary, the voting process during the primaries in a way that ensured that Bernie Sanders would lose. The Democrat Party admitted it. Bernie Sanders admitted it. And you know what the Democrat voters did? They just went along with it. So you stripped us of our right to select the nominee for president. And instead of raising hell and swearing to never vote for you again, we just went along with it. Why? because there was too much at stake. And Donald Trump won anyway. Do you understand that is one of the major reasons why Hillary Clinton did not win? But the Democrats didn't learn their lesson. The next presidential election, when Joe Biden was losing, Joe Biden hadn't won a single primary. But what did the Democrat Party do? They messed around with the primary process again, and they selected Joe Biden as the nominee. He was not elected by the people to be the nominee. RF, I see you, and I'm bringing you up here in a second. I want to play this clip from Right Wing Angel by way of Adam Schultz. Well, from Adam Schultz by way of Right Wing Angel, where Bernie Sanders admits that the Democrat Party is a threat to democracy. This is what I'm going to play right now. I just want to make sure. Okay, yeah. I just want to make sure we got it ready to play for you. I'm going to play this clip. And this is straight from the horse's mouth. This is straight from Bernie Sanders' mouth, that the Democrat Party stripped America of their right to choose leadership, and that they represent the biggest threat to democracy. And you know what? Black America, if you voted for those Democrats at 95%, that means you are included as the biggest threat to democracy facing our country today.
The
Okay, I'm gonna play it right now.
Republicans being autocrats and oligarchs and taking over democracy, but from
This is going to be Hillary Clinton.
the Democrat perspective, and I'm a lifelong Democrat, I felt like the Democratic Party completely removed the democratic process from its constituents. And I think they need to have some accountability of that.
No argument here.
I donated for you.
what-
I wanted you to, like, 2016, I was like, this is going to happen. This guy's going to do it. And it felt like they stole it from me. And I'll be honest, it broke my heart when you supported them.
Look, but you have, in the world that I live in, you got a choice.
I'm gonna let it play again.
And I mean, a lot of people, including my wife, agree with you. But, you know,
The problem I think a lot of voters had is, like, they didn't even know if it was her. We didn't even know if Biden was president. We didn't even know if these were her talking points. And we felt that over the last 4 elections, Democrats, we felt that we didn't have a say on who could be president. We talk a lot about the Republicans being autocrats and oligarchs and taking over democracy, but from the Democrat perspective, and I'm a lifelong Democrat, I felt like the Democratic Party completely removed the democratic process from its constituents. And I think they need to have some accountability of that.
no argument here.
I donated
is
for you.
what-
I wanted you to, like, 2016, I was like, this is going to happen. This guy's going to do it. And it felt like they stole it from me. And I'll be honest, it broke my heart when you supported them.
Look, but you have,
Look at Bernie Sanders' face. When Andrew Schultz is basically speaking truth to power, that coward Charlemagne, the God who's sitting right next to him, or maybe he was there, or maybe he was not. Charlemagne the God is literally his co-host on this show. He's always there. Charlemagne is speaking, Adam Schultz is speaking straight up truth to power. And Bernie Sanders is sitting there like, you're right. Bernie is literally looking at his damn lap. You know when you hearing the truth and you really just you're ashamed of yourself. Bernie Sanders is literally sitting there with a 1,000-yard stare. He admits his wife feels the same way. And do you understand that 95% of your people, Black people, our people, we saw exactly what Adam Schultz, a lifelong Democrat, saw. And we still saw fit to vote for Democrats by 95% at a higher rate than any other racial demographic in the country. Here's the second part of that.
or is it going to be Donald Trump? Not a great choice.
But it ended up being him anyway. So why don't we burn it down?
Well, because it's easy to say burning it down means that children are not going to have, food to eat, that the schools will deteriorate, people will not have health care.
I got it.
And I'm an elected official. I got to represent.
And you see, Bernie doesn't even have a real answer for why not burn it down. So he pivots right back. He goes right back to those lame ass talking points. Children aren't going to have food to eat. So if Donald Trump gets elected, all the grocery stores are suddenly going to shut down. What? Donald Trump is president, right? Donald Trump was president for 4 years. Listen to this. Donald Trump was president for 4 years. Nobody went hungry. Donald Trump is president right now, and nobody starved to death. So when the Democrats say this dumb shit, oh, it's either Hillary Clinton or children starving. That doesn't work anymore, Bernie, because we've already experienced Donald Trump as president, and it was a damn good time. Except for the COVID situation, which wasn't his fault. They throw bullshit, fear-mongering propaganda at the American people, and then they don't even deliver on what they promise you. They say, let us steal your power to elect representatives to represent you. Because this might happen if you don't. We vote for them and everything gets worse. Joe Biden is what happens when the American people give away their autonomy, when we give away our right to select leadership for our country. That literally, Joe Biden is what happens. Someone who allows $7 billion of military equipment to be left in Afghanistan. And then when asked why he did that, why he put that in the hands of the Taliban, Joe Biden said, my advisors never told me that if I withdrew from Afghanistan the way we did, the Taliban would take control of the government, the interim or installed government would be destroyed, and the Taliban would gain control of our U.S. military high-power weapons that were left behind. Do you know that there were U.S. generals who testified under oath that they explained exactly this fact to Joe Biden? And he didn't remember. He literally was just like a dementia patient. The way Pop would forget to pick up milk for your granny when he goes to the store because he's in the beginning stages of dementia, Joe Biden literally forgot the advice that his military generals gave him about what would happen if he did not properly withdraw from Afghanistan. This shit boggles the mind. And you know what black folks did? We say, you know what? Doesn't matter. Orange man bad. If you're voting for at 95% for things that hurt this country, you are a part of the problem. If these things are a threat to democracy, then that means you are a threat to democracy. But you know how we think. We think we could make bad decisions and never be held accountable.
The people,
That's fair.
And I can't turn my back on.
But then could we not also say if ostensibly there hasn't been a fair primary for the Democrats since 2008, are they not also a threat to democracy? Yes. We often hear.
Fair enough. That is. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that point.
Did you just hear did you just hear the question that was asked? Do you hear the statement that was made? And do you hear the question that was asked? He said there has not been a fair process run by the Democrat Party since 2008. So that's when Obama was running for president. Could you say the Democrats represent the biggest threat to democracy? Bernie Sanders said yes. He literally said yes. I'm playing that again. I got to play that again. I'm sorry. Y'all might not want to see it again. I need to see that again for me. I'm playing this again.
You're down to a choice. Is it going to be Hillary Clinton or is it going to be Donald Trump, not a great choice.
But it ended up being him anyway, so why don't we burn it down?
Well, because it's easy to say burning it down means that children are not going to have, food to eat, that the schools will deteriorate, people will not have health care.
I got it.
And I'm an elected official. I got to represent the people.
That's fair.
And I can't turn my back on.
But then could we not also say if ostensibly there hasn't been a fair primary for the Democrats since 2008, are they not also a threat to democracy? We often hear.
Fair enough. That is, yeah, I'm not going to argue with that point. You're down to a choice. Is it going to be Hillary Clinton or is it going to be?
He literally said, I'm not even going to argue that point. That's how indefensible it is. You can't even defend the Democrat Party at this point. Yet black folks is still voting for him. Jesus and Joe Biden. We got two of our favorite guests up here tonight to have a brief discussion of the information that has been brought to light. So I'll start with the initial question, and we'll start with RF. RF, do you believe black voters represent the biggest threat to democracy after becoming privy to the information presented before?
Okay, simple answer is yes. But first, I want to say, look how sharp Bernie Sanders is, and he's older than Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and he's still sharp, and he's still sharp as ever. But okay. Actually, let me backtrack. Are they a threat to democracy?
Hey, you're not
No.
gonna disrespect Donald Trump up here, so cut the crap.
I didn't say anything about Donald Trump.
You said he's sharper than Donald Trump.
I said he's older than Donald Trump and Joe Biden. I didn't say he's sharp.
I'm in cognitive
All right.
decline.
Look at you. You got hysteria, Democrat hysteria.
Yeah, I was about to
Look
go
at
off
you.
on your ass. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah, don't touch my daddy. Like in that Django movie. Look at you.
Go ahead.
Okay. So look, are they a threat to democracy as a whole? No. Are they shills for the Democratic Party? Yes, because if you look how Bernie Sanders was going to get elected because he slept. You remember the last primary? He swept the entire Northeast coast, and when he got down to Carolina, Jim Clyburn with his country bumpkin black ass went there and he said, we gotta keep the people. We don't want Bernie Sanders, so he pretty much drug Joe Biden over the primary finish line in the Carolinas and in the South to propel him to the presidency. And then, if you remember when Joe Biden had beat Donald Trump, oh, look what black women did. Black women came and they showed out. Look what they did in Georgia and this and that and everything else. Look what the black population did. So, yes, we fall for it every time. Joe Biden ended up doing nothing for black people in his term. And we have black politicians fighting, going down to El Salvador for Latinos who voted for Trump way more than the black pop. 55% of Latino males voted for Donald Trump. In Texas, the numbers are even bigger, the border states. And we got black politicians out here running around trying to stop deportation when the Latino community voted for it overwhelmingly, in my opinion. So the black, well, you know what? I changed my, we are a threat because we just as silly as ever, just like them people up there in New Jersey and all these other people running out, all these black mayors and officials getting arrested over these Hispanics and Latinos. It's ridiculous. And I don't know what, I think people have to, I don't know what's going to happen in the next election, but I'm just hoping that things change. I mean, I just hope things change as far as like who we pick. Kamala Harris, I think she's dead. She's not going to. I don't think she can serve it. I think she's going to pop up for California mayor, but we're going to see what happens with that.
Black people are going to do exactly what they did in Chicago. They're going to say all this shit. They're going to bellyache, cry, whine, and complain. They're going to go to the Democrats begging. Please just promise us something that you're never going to deliver. The Democrats going to say, we ain't giving you shit. We need to let more immigrants into this country so they could become our new constituents. And black folks still going to vote 95% Democrat.
They passed the Asian crime bill before they did anything for black people. Remember that Asian crime bill?
Black people voted Black people voted at about 88% for Kamala Harris. This woman didn't even have no policies. This woman brought white people wouldn't even be persuaded by Bruce Springsteen. Kamala brought out all these singers and strippers and hookers. and black folks fell right into the trap.
No,
That's
remember
why,
the polls though. Remember the polls leading up. Oh, she got this in the bag. Oh,
yeah.
she's gonna put. Oh, look at this. Look at these polls. Oh,
Well,
look what happened.
no, but what we're saying when we say that is she has us in the bag. We've already made up our mind. Soon as they said black and woman in the same sentence, the black vote was won. And that's what you got to understand. You're not getting anything because you're throwing your vote away. You're giving your vote too early in the process.
Well, and let me say one more thing. Brandon, you may be as unpopular as the HUD director. You might be most in the black community. You might be most unpopular as that new HUD director that's about to take away that Section 8.
Hey, listen, bro. I debated a racist, admitted white supremacist who called black people monkeys on the debate. Do you know it's people still in that comment section attacking me? They not even saying nothing about him. They just attacking me. It don't make no damn sense. Go ahead, Daniel.
Well, I can agree. The Democratic Party, they definitely suck, and they basically just pander and give symbolic gestures. They don't ever really give us anything tangible for our vote. So yeah, I mean, I think people are waking up though. I don't think that the black community is a threat to democracy, because I think we're starting to wake up to the Democratic Party's shenanigans, the strippers, the Cardi B, and all that type of stuff. But Trump is not really impressing me right now, because them gas prices are still high and the groceries are still high. So Trump got to step it up too.
I'm not going to defend Trump, but what I will say is Trump has had a flawless victory so far.
I don't understand flawless victory.
Every single, despite ending the war in Ukraine in a day, despite that, he hasn't done that. But I blame that on Vladimir Zelensky. But despite that, Trump has delivered on every single thing he said he was going to do. Eggs are down. Gas prices are trending lower than they were under Biden. On Biden's last day, gas was higher than it is right now. But we have to understand, you're not going to really be able to see the effects of what Trump's doing until a deal is reached with China and some of these other countries, because investor trust is low right now. Investor
confidence is down. Yeah.
Confidence is down. But since Trump has made this temporary agreement with China, investor confidence is high, and the markets have recovered every single loss that they had leading up to this point.
Well, no, can I say something on this? Because
because I know what you're about to say.
No, you don't.
Yes,
Go
I
ahead.
do. But look, no, you don't. Go ahead. People don't want to hear me talk. You say what you have to say.
Yeah, but people got to understand why the tariffs are. People they want to continuously get all this cheap stuff from China and all this stuff imported for cheap at the expense of the American businesses that are trying to do business in China. Do you know Americans can't even go over there and open businesses without being shut down by China, without being unfair trade practices, unfair business practices, and everything else? They charge us all these tariffs. We can't even look for. So our social media, like YouTube, can't even. You are not even available in China, but yet we import. We have all their stuff here. So it had to be some kind of rebalance and some kind of fairness with the global trade market. So you're going to take a hit on tariffs, but it's for the greater good overall for American business and American enterprises overseas, because you can't have it both ways with China. That's what I'm saying. He can't wave a wand and make all this stuff go down in prices, but it had to come to a head at some point. So you know what? I say everybody, you have to take that hit, take these prices. There's going to be a little bit higher, but in the big picture of things, it's going to help American business.
Hey, real quick, and what people are forgetting to remember is that Donald Trump said he was going to use tariffs to bring countries to the negotiating table. So if we have a deal where when we get 20 apples, I take one apple and you get 19 apples, why would I come to a negotiating table to determine to change how many apples you get versus how many apples I get? You're winning. You're getting 19 apples. I'm getting 1. There's no incentive for me to come to the table to negotiate. But if I say, look, man, if you don't come to the table to negotiate the distribution of apples, I'm not going to go out and help you pick the apples, or I'm not going to go out and help work the machinery to harvest the apples until you come negotiate the distribution of the apples with me to make it more fair for me. Now you have been incentivized to come to the negotiating table, because if this person doesn't help me get these apples right and process these apples, we ain't gonna get no apples. Ain't no apples coming in. And that's basically what Trump had to do with China. He had to throw super high tariffs on them, which hurt our economy a little bit.
Well, it hurt them too,
And
because they rely on us more than we rely on them. We are the consumer market. They aren't the consumer market.
Oh yeah, it hurt them more. It hurt them more. It's like a woman withholding sex from you, right? She's doing that to make you come to the negotiating table about something that she's not happy with, or something that she doesn't think is fair. Because if she's still giving you the nookie, you have no incentive to listen to what she has to say. So she stops the nookie. Now you pissed off because you ain't getting the nookie, but you still want that nookie. So you're gonna listen to what she has to say. So that's exactly what Trump said he was gonna do.
Hey,
and that's
one
exactly
last
what Trump
thing,
did.
Brian.
Go ahead, Daniel. You good?
I heard you say something the other day. Reparations are not a handout. Reparations are a debt that's owed. It's already been agreed upon.
Bro, y'all
that it was
say
a debt.
everything that
Wait, Kasha.
It gets
So
Let him
so
finish.
tiring.
Let him finish.
So if Jews can be wealthy and still get reparations, y'all don't say a damn thing to them. Y'all don't jump in their groups. So don't be cowards and try to jump in when it's other black people.
Who did Jewish people receive their reparations from?
They get reparations from America, and they get it from the French
Japanese
and Germany.
did. I don't think the Jews did.
Yes, they do.
No,
They get it from us too. They get it from us too.
Well, we'll fact check it.
Go back and
We'll
look.
fact check
Obama
it.
gave them more.
We'll fact check it.
Yeah, fact check it. Obama even gave them more in 2015.
No, you're talking about foreign aid to Israel. That's not reparations.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about reparations.
Name me a Jew. Name me a Jew in the U.S. that got direct payment from the U.S. government.
Reparations too. You don't say nothing about that.
No, name me Jews that got direct payment from the United States government.
I'm supposed to name their names?
Individual. Show me anything that shows that.
Yeah, I know. I know every Jewish person's name, dude.
Hey, wait a minute. We did a fact check.
That was really goofy.
Hey, hold on. We did a fact check.
Joel Goldstein.
Wait. Let me finish. We did a fact check. AI overview. Yes, Holocaust. I'm gonna share it so everybody can see it, because it goes in line with what I said, what I thought. Yes, Holocaust survivors receive reparations, with Germany paying the majority of these reparations. The United States played a role in facilitating these reparations, particularly after World War II, by pressuring Germany to pay and by ensuring that payments were made to Jewish victims. The United States also provided funding and support for organizations that served Holocaust survivors.
Like I said.
So they just made them fork it.
Wait a minute. The reparations for the German survivors from the Jewish survivors of the Holocaust were paid by Germany. The United States facilitated that. Then the United States provided funding and support for organizations. That didn't go to, wait a minute. That did not go to individuals. It provided support for organizations that served Holocaust survivors. Now,
survivors or any slave survivors now?
Guys, hold on real quick. Wait. I need the black man to listen. Shut up. You want to have an emotional response, Daniel? Listen. Black America is not asking for money to go to organizations that help the descendants of slaves. And I'm going to play this clip because I'm glad you went into this, because I was going to do this clip anyway. That is not what you're asking for. You are asking for an individual payout of money to individuals who are the descendants of American slaves. I'm muting you because you playing around with some paper or something. The United States has never done that. They've never done that. And they didn't do it for Jews. So your assertion is wrong. Germany paid reparations to the
Native
Jews.
Americans get payouts, cash payouts.
They did not get those are not reparations. And all Native Americans do not get cash payouts. I live in California.
Most of them don't.
Listen, I live in California where most tribes get some money. They don't get that from the government. They get that payout from their tribe for revenue that they receive from the casinos and stuff that they are allowed to operate on their tribal land. I have my sister's best friend, Aubrey. She gets a Indian check because she's a part of a tribe that operates she's black, but she has Indian blood in her. Her tribe operates a casino, right? She gets a check. It used to be about $2,000 a month 10 years ago. Now the check is $5,000 a month. And that is directly coming from revenue from their casino operations on that tribal land. That shit don't come from the United States of America.
And you got to know the key note: survivors, not people who were alive at the time when not descendants. I can't hear you, Brandon. Are you muted?
No, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything.
Oh, okay. And the only people who got
hey,
direct
he
payments.
ran. Hey, Daniel ran off, bro. Got debunked. Daniel, I know you ain't that. I know you ain't that thin skinned, my brother.
Well, Japanese are the only people that got direct payments from the U.S. government that I know of.
And it was the ones who were put in internment camps.
Right. And that's kind of legit, bro. Like, because they just, hey, nigga, you look like you gonna bomb us like Hiroshima. I mean, like Pearl Harbor. So they just rounded up a bunch of basically U.S. citizens.
You can't blame them because we might have to do it with the Chinese at some point. Because if we fight China, you know how many Chinese are running around here that might be spies and whatnot.
That is true. But at the same time, you know, I get it why they did it with the Japanese. The Japanese got power. They got a country behind them that can you know, campaign
we
for
had
them.
just
Like,
whooped Japan's ass. Listen, Japan was totally destroyed at that point, so they didn't have no power. They had just been stripped of their ability to even have a military.
You talking about when they got the reparation?
Yeah, what happened was Japanese Americans were business owners, and so their businesses and stuff got impacted, but it also represented a significant segment of the economy of many cities. So those cities were like, hey, the government needs to give these Japanese people some money so they could build back what they lost, so they can continue to contribute to the economy of our city. That was all facility. Right. That was all done to the benefit of the United States.
Right. Can you read Neil's comment?
Neil? Oh, I put it up. Neil said this isn't the first time Trump-China trade war. This isn't the first Trump-China trade war. Xi has been preparing for this by diversifying exports. PRC can survive without U.S. trade, bro.
That's a stupid statement. That's a dumbass statement.
That's the dumbest statement I've ever.
People like that who make statements like that, they're not unbiased. They're not open to new information either.
They don't have any information. They don't even have old information.
There is
the U.S. is China's biggest trading partner. What are they talking about?
Yeah, there is no consumer. The Chinese people don't buy anything. That's why they don't have a consumer market. The U.S. is the biggest consumer market in the world. They can't make enough stuff to employ their people that can be consumed that what the Chinese people will buy. So that's a stupid ass statement.
100%. Go ahead, Costa.
Yeah, this is not surprising, the information that's coming out about Biden.
We love the kids on this channel.
I know. I'm sorry, y'all.
No, go ahead. You're good.
Yeah, so it's not surprising that this information is coming out. I think it's just really crazy how they had that man in there for 4 years and they wanted to go another maybe 2 until he checked, maybe 1 or 3, but they had him in there for 4 years knowing he was dealing with that, you know. And I think everything that they did during that administration is going to be chalked up as, oh, well, you know, Joe was just sick. You know, oh, well, that happened because Joe was just sick. You know, they'll have you know what I'm saying? They'll have a scapegoat.
No, 100%. I want to read this comment. Shout out to my boy Rob. 95% of the voter block is not something to be proud of. It shows a hate for opposing discourse and rids us of the responsibility of critical thinking. 100%, Robert. And that's where the danger lies, guys. Do you realize that right now? Let's say there was Republicans who said, man, look, an asteroid is about to hit the earth. We need to build some ships so we can get the hell off the planet, or whatever scenario from one of these apocalypse movies. If the Democrats told black people, no, we don't need to build nothing, ain't no asteroid gonna hit the earth, they lying to you, this and that, 95% of black voters would die. Because that is how extremely biased we are towards the Democrat Party. There's literally there's not even a consideration of the other opinion, of the opposing opinion. So it's just like in a courtroom. The judge is going to hear both sides of the argument so they can make an informed decision. Black people are only listening to one, majority. Black people are only listening to one side of the argument, and it's absolutely disturbing. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, and that's actually really scary, like you said, and it's embarrassing too. And I feel like if we were 95% of a block, I would rather be 95 on the Republican. Well, I wouldn't want to be 95 at all, but the Democrats just seem like a treasonous organization at this point. They don't even have democratically elected officials with this last presidency. They they um they basically, I lost my train of thought, but oh, the lying about Joe Biden, the just freeing up the border. It doesn't even feel like we're dealing with like a credible opposing political party. Like it seems like they are really just a terrorist organization that we have to deal with in America, and we'll only get better once we eradicate all of them.
No, 100%. It feels like you're not even dealing with people who care about America anymore. Just people who want what they want no matter what, and they're willing to do anything to get it. It's more like you're dealing with like a terrorist group. That's the closest thing I can compare it to. They and listen, they're already asking their voters to commit violence. They're already dog whistling it and making it seem like it's okay. But what I want to do is because I was gonna cover this too. First of all, I want to thank you for your contribution. Let you know that you have been entered to win in our raffle that is taking place on my birthday, July 25th, 2025. You have been entered to win, and you have one entry. You are able to put in as many entries as you want by making a donation of $5 or more to this stream. And that offer is available to every single person in this who watches these live streams. I put Hakeem in as well. He gave us a $5 contribution. We're going to go for about maybe 10 more minutes. So feel free to drop a donation, whether it's Cash App, PayPal, or through the Super Chat. Now, we're on the topic of reparations, and this is what I wanted to play in. I would love to get a response from all of you about this. So here we are watching the Roland Martin show, and Roland Martin has a discussion about Wes Moore, governor of Maryland, vetoing a potential study on reparations. Now, what I want you to pay attention to is the fact that in this group, there is only one elected official, and the other two people speaking, I believe, are lawyers. I want you to notice the way the elected official approaches the reparation discussion and or argument, and how it flies in the face of the approach of the lawyers who are attacking this from a legal perspective, which is the most likely position to yield actual results. Let's tap in.
A little bit of experience in this field. I actually did the thing. Number one, I have a little bit of experience in this field. I actually did a presentation for the Detroit Reparations Task Force here March 2nd, 2024. Now, I'm going to tell you the same thing I told them and the same thing I say on numerous shows and the African History Network show. I would not put the term reparations on anything that you actually want to get passed, especially if a lot of people that got to vote for it are white. But even if they're black, and the reason why is I'm all for repairing the damage of the legacy of slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, all that. I'm all for that. But what happens is a lot of these efforts get attacked, undermined, imploded, and you get a lot of people who walk away disheartened. Now, one thing he did say is that he was already enacting policies and quote unquote a culture of repair to remedy the harms of slavery. This is from the Washington Post article that you're reading from as well. So what I would focus on and what I encourage people to focus on is the structural inequities that exist right now in Maryland, California, whatever it is, and deal with the laws and policies that were put in place that created those structural inequities and trace that back to slavery, trace that back to Jim Crow, et cetera, and deal with repairing those structural inequities. But I saw a previous article 6 days ago from thegrio.com about this, and I'm someone who focuses on actually being able, not focusing on studies, but actually getting policies put in place that are beneficial for African Americans that will withstand legal challenges when you get sued to overturn it. I'm focused on the end game.
Okay, so this brother right here, he's just a lawyer. So he's making a point. Hey, we got to make sure this stuff can withstand the legal challenges. Now, there's a female, she speaks in the middle, but she just agreed. Her clip was like 30 seconds. She basically, you know what? I'll just play it. Fuck it. I want to give women equal representation. She basically just agrees with what the bro said.
Yeah, I mostly agree with that. I do think a study, as the policymaking process tends to go, is usually the first step in any. If anything's going to become a law, you got to have some kind of study that the government's done to check the box. But yeah, I generally agree. It's like we all kind of know the history. I think the fact that this was a study that would have been focused specifically on Maryland makes it a little bit more sense than, some of the national bills that have called for a federal study. I think there is a pretty broad understanding generally of the issue. But look, I mean, this is a situation is Westmore has higher ambitions than being the governor of Maryland. If he wants to someday run for something else like president of the United States, then he probably doesn't want this on his record. And I imagine that is a factor in why he decided to include this in his vetoes.
Derek?
Yeah, listen, I guess I'm gonna come from a different perspective, being a state legislator. And
now listen what he said. He said, I guess I'm gonna come from a different perspective, being a state legislator. Now he's actually someone who's in power, who can actually put something up for a vote. Listen to this damn idiot.
Being one that have a reparations bill right here in Georgia, it didn't get any action rolling because I did use the word reparation. And the reason why I use the word reparation, slightly disagreeing with my dear friend Michael, is that Abraham Lincoln created reparation. He created reparation in April of 1862. And they didn't just use it once, but they used it twice. And so without seeing the entire legislation that Westmore vetoed, I think we need to use the word reparation. And when you think about the grand scheme of things, as I tell my Republican friends, there's no difference between reparation and tax cuts. There's no difference. When government take in the money, Roland, and then redistribute. And so we just passed this huge tax cut here in Georgia. And then you got the federal government right now looking to pass another tax cut. And so tax cuts and reparation in my world are synonymous. And so I know a lot of folks try to shun away from the word. I'm not sure why, for example, California, they killed their own reparations bill. I'm still boggled around that. New York.
They killed their bill because the governor gave a head nod that he was going to veto it. So they pulled the bill, which is stupid. You pass the bill and you force him to veto it.
You force him to veto. That's
okay. So this guy is an absolute idiot, and whoever voted for him is an absolute idiot, and he represents the problem with many Black elected officials and the people who support them, like Roland Martin. This man knows the legislation is not going to go anywhere if you use the word reparations. He knows the legislation, even if it were to be passed, it will immediately face hundreds of challenges based on the legality or the constitutional viability of that legislation. Secondly, this guy cites the Compensated Emancipation Act of 1862 as a time when reparations was given to Black folks. The only problem is this moron failed to mention that the reparations that were given were not to Black people. They were given to the owners of slaves. Lincoln paid slaveholders $300 for each emancipated individual as a form of reparative justice for slave holders. He purposely misrepresented that bill just to fool somebody who's dumb, so you guys can say they already did reparations. Look at the lawyers. So the lawyers are telling you what's actually going to work and what's going to survive challenges.
But Brandon,
hold on. The politician is telling you, no, keep banging your head against the wall. And we know the wall's not going to break. We know your skull's going to eventually crack open. But when your skull cracks open, everyone will be able to see how serious you were about getting reparations. This is why you need lawyers. And this is why you need to make sure that the people you are electing have cognitive viability and they actually are honest. This guy knows that he can continue to use the word reparations as a vehicle to get reelected. So he is just like Tariq. He never wants to see you actually get reparations because it's just like Democrats with Roe v. Wade. They want to keep it a hot button debated issue so that they can keep using it to get elected and to get money. So he's using it to get reelected. Tariq's using it to keep making money. We're going to go around the round table. We'll start with Daniel Beverly, and then we're going to end this stream. Let's go, guys.
So to my point, another group in the history of America has received reparations.
Slave owners
even receive reparations. So see how easy it is to get it done if you really want to get it done. All that other shit is semantics. The biggest issue is we got people that are Jamaicans. I think Westmore's Jamaican descent.
No, his daddy. Listen,
he
man,
is American. He's not
stop
Jamaican.
with the nonsense, bro.
Descent.
Based on your definition,
not from our lineage.
Stop it, bro. Based on Tariq's definition of FBA and yours, if you have one FBA parent, you are FBA. Westmore's
you just said
daddy.
Tariq. You just said
finish.
Tariq didn't say that.
Let me finish.
Tariq said Meghan Markle is FBA.
Yes, and Westmore has a father who is Black American descendant of slaves.
What I'm saying is, I just told y'all that last week, and y'all
argue the facts.
Y'all moved the goalposts. You got one FBA, your FBA. Now you're saying Tariq said that.
No, what we keep trying to tell you is Tariq changes the definition of FBA based on how he feels at the moment. And he's like a king. He decides who's FBA and who's not on his whim. Keep going, bro.
No, because you're FBA. You just
I'm not arguing that.
Right.
So you have no
Brandon wasn't FBA.
What I'm telling you is
Umar wasn't FBA.
What I'm telling you is you have no room to argue. What I'm telling you is you have no room to argue that on this channel. Move on.
No, listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying you're considering yourself FBA regardless of what Tariq says, right?
No.
It's your lineage.
No, I'm not.
You just told me last week.
I'm not FBA. I'm not FBA because FBA is not a real thing. Let's go, man. Keep moving.
So anyway, The bottom line is we got to get Sambos and Tethers out of these positions. White people prop them up in these positions.
But he's not a tether.
I said Sambos too. So you got
Okay.
to get, if you're worried about reparations for a Jewish person wouldn't do that. If you had a Jewish elected official, he's going to push for his people. He's not going to worry about if placating to somebody else. He's not going to worry about if other people like him. Look at Obama, biggest coon, Kenyan background and white mama.
No, but here's the thing. Wes Moore is not even shutting down reparations. You guys are just so ignorant. You don't realize that Wes Moore is actually helping you guys, because Wes Moore said, I'm not signing for another study. Studies are a waste of time. You don't need to study this anymore.
They are a waste of time.
Wes Moore
Okay,
want actions, bro.
That's how dumb these people are. Wes Moore is trying to help y'all by vetoing that mess, because they said they need a 2-year study.
We'll
that
see.
would
Well, not.
wait a minute. That means you would have to wait another 2 years to even be considered for getting reparations. Wes Moore is smart. You guys are just not. You guys are. Go ahead.
No, I agree. I don't want another study, because that's all BS. Because you see, I guarantee it wasn't no long study when they gave those white slave owners cash. It wasn't no long study for Jews.
Reparations
The Holocaust was only 5 years. They've been getting paid for 80 years. They've been getting paid for over 50 years.
Reparations is a dead issue, Daniel.
That's a lie.
Hey,
It's a dead issue.
MJ,
unless you're gonna go and take it from them, you're not gonna get it.
You're not.
And you're not gonna take
How
it.
about not voting?
No, see, that's stupid.
How about
see,
not
that,
voting
see, now
for
you're
people who
entertaining
not
dumb
for
shit.
it?
Now you
If
listen.
if they not for
not voting. So if you don't vote,
I'm saying
if you vote, you cannot become a single issue voter. The black community will be eradicated from the United States within a matter of 2 years or 3 if we take that position. You can't stop. Listen, it's
they
like
already
somebody
not doing shit for us.
Listen, man, there's a lot of things being done for you.
It's just benign neglect.
Donald Trump just gave HBCUs billions of dollars. What the hell are you talking about?
I'd rather
Everybody
say
does
benign
that
neglect
HBCU
than
shit.
neglect.
Donald Trump gave you opportunity zones in your community. There are people doing stuff for you. You guys are dying on the hill of reparations. You are literally ready to crash out and just give up your life, because if you don't get reparations, and no one else is about to do that with you.
That sounds ridiculous. I've been living the whole time without reparations. I'm still. I'm still going to go to
You're
work.
gonna keep living, bro. You're gonna die.
You're
without
gonna
them,
keep
too.
living. You're gonna keep living because you're
I probably
successful.
will, because we got a whole bunch of people, not like Jewish people, that say never forget. We just say, "Oh, get over it."
Listen, man,
bro. That's not why they won't give us reparations.
Daniel Beverly,
Yes,
you're
it is, because
already
we don't stand together with it.
So you telling me if
That
every
sounds
black
I've never
person
heard
said,
another
"Hey, give
Jewish
us
person talk
reparations,"
down
they gonna give it
reparations.
to us?
if every
I've never
black
heard a
person,
Jewish person talk down reparations for their
well,
own people.
reparations,
It
well,
don't
guess
matter,
what?
bro. Jew is not a race, bro.
And you never
They
saw.
stick together.
Wait a minute, guys. Hold on.
Cool.
And you'll never hear a Jewish person saying, "Let's sign a civil rights act with Germany." We did that. We did the stupid shit. The Jews looked at Germany as the enemy all the way up until they got paid. Black people jumped in bed with white folks because we wanted to be like them. We love them so much. It's not even the same thing.
That's why you're agreeing with them now.
They ran away from Germans. We
people
ran to white folks.
Right, exactly. Let's go, Rob.
We
Let's
built
go.
the country. How do we run away to white
Let's
folks?
go. Hey, listen,
Bro,
let's
we
go,
ran
Rob.
to them. We didn't run away from them. We ran
The
to them.
country didn't exist until
Guys,
we built it.
We're moving on.
Yeah, see
ahead.
that other black guy, I don't know what his name was, but he's just an idiot, and he just represents why, you know, black people won't get reparation. You have Wes Moore trying to basically explain to him how we need to package it, and he's getting all emotional about not being able to say reparations. I think you described it perfectly. He's being disingenuous. He wants to grift off the reparations word.
Exactly.
And yeah, so that's all I gotta say, man.
Thank you, Rob. All right, let's go. RF.
Yeah, as far as reparations, as my understanding, being here in California, it wasn't a direct payment anyway. It was in the form of scholarships and home vouchers and things like that. It wasn't like we're going to give you everybody $1 million. That's how I understood the California bill. But as far as reparations, I don't care how they call it, frame it. It has to pass some kind of thing that some kind of legal. I think the way the lawyer explained it is much better. I don't know why we're stuck on the word reparation. And I just want to make it clear: the Jewish people did not receive direct payment reparations from the United States. So stop saying that lie. You keep saying that over and over again. That's not the truth. And second, the only people that got reparations, as far as something like reparations, is the Japanese for being interned during World War II. But I don't care how they call it, what they call it. I personally, I don't think it's going to happen anyway. And I think if it does happen, it needs to be on a federal level, not on a state by state level, because that's, to me, it's just, hey. But I just don't think it's going to happen anyway. That's all I got to say
You
about
see how
it.
you just brushed over that? So
Let's go.
they went in internment camp for what? A couple years,
Man,
and they got paid.
Listen. Your problem is you can't focus on the reality, so you keep bringing up things that have nothing to do with
The problem is you're just too scared to demand what you're supposed to get.
Why am I scared? When
Why don't you demand and go to the vote?
You want to appease white people. You want,
all right, man.
You want to be considered likable.
Well, let me tell you, Trump did something for you.
Wait. Tariq Nasheed has more white friends than me. Your leader, your guy.
Adam is your leader.
On top. Okay, that's fine. Go ahead.
You want those opportunities. So
Okay,
you want to be the next Jason Whitlock.
So I'm gonna give up opportunities because you a rich black person you begging for a little bit more money.
I'm not
go straight to hell.
How do you beg for something that's already owed to you?
Listen, man.
I don't give a fuck about. I don't give a fuck if I have billions of dollars. If somebody owe you something, how's that begging?
He's so angry over this. He owes something.
Nobody even owe you nothing, man. You didn't do no work.
Let me
do your research.
Do your research about somebody owing. If you tough, ain't nobody owing you nothing. Because if they owe you, you can go take it. So
you go get it.
If you want it, go take it. If you're not gonna take it, just shut up, bro. Just shut up.
Yeah, bro's not gonna give up his creature comforts to go fight a war for reparations. We know that. He's just talking because he's comfortable enough to talk about it without doing anything. Go ahead, we winning. And then we're going to close out with Hakeem. Hey, thank all you guys for coming up. I'm going to start taking people down. Hakeem and we winning are the last comments. Go ahead, we winning.
What's going on? Came to check in with you, man. I'm just came to check in with you, brother. But shout out to you, man. We'll talk later on.
Thank you. Hey, I did some good business with this brother right here. I went over to Lancaster, California, and got some great stock tips, advice, guidance, show me how to get some things done, set up some accounts, all that. This guy's the real deal.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being on.
Thank you, my brother. Hey, let's go, administrator.
Yo, what up? You hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. I feel like Wes is just basically he's basically saying that they ain't serious because the study at this point, that just says that you just trying to get some money and F around on Google. Like, bro, it's what is it, Maryland that he runs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, Maryland, that shit is all documented, bro. It's Maryland of all states. You don't need to do a study. Everything's documented. Like, that was the state. Like, let's be for real.
Facts. If anybody was going to get it, they would.
Right. He basically saying, y'all, bring the actual bill. Actually, like, just bring the real reparations bill. He's not saying like, oh, like studying is not good enough. We got to do a little more before that. No, he's saying like, we're past that. Like, give me an actual reparations bill that makes sense.
But why would they bring MJ, real quick, MJ, I added you to the raffle pool just on the strength that you always support this channel. I added you, brother. But hey, because Westmore knows the truth. These people don't want reparations. These people just want to keep using reparations as a tool to get elected.
Right. And then they're going to get on these boards and get money for the reparation study and just live off that.
And then block their own bill like they did in California. Listen, right now, the Democrats know this. Every black person looks at reparations through Republicans as hopeless. So they looking at Democrats like, well, if we get a Democrat in, at least there's a chance. Westmore knows there's really no chance, right? So what I'm telling you is, what he's trying to show you is, look, man, these people just are it's the carrot on the stick.
Yeah, it's convenient though for a politician to go to like waffle on it, you know what I mean? Because you could be like, it's not going to pass, which you could logically say that. Or you could be like, I just ain't for it, which there's really not much skin off your back for that either. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty convenient. You know, they need to just come out with the bill. Okay, what is it? I think that's the legwork that they're afraid of, because it's like, bro, we had, even since, let's say, civil rights and everyone started going to college and stuff like that, we could have had a study done that could be transferable across all states that held slaves.
Yeah.
Like, you got the insurance companies that had the manifest for the shipping and stuff. People insured slaves, guys.
Yeah. And listen, the banks that control your home loan owned slaves and traded in the slave was involved in the slave trade. You hit them, or they get a raise in taxes so you can get reparations. What you think they're about to do with all your equity and all your assets that they control, bro? They're gonna get it out your ass, bro. Black people are just too integrated. If you wanted reparations, you should have stayed segregated.
Right.
But guys, I'm about to get out of here. It's still not too late to contribute to the stream and be entered into the raffle. Also, PayPal, Cash App, all those things. You can contribute after the fact. I'll see it and enter you into the raffle. Guys, also, go over to No Jumper. I got a debate that just dropped over there with a self-proclaimed white supremacist. And let's just say I ate and I left no crumbs. Pause. Hey, to the next time. Peace.